from ICER Trivandrum. So she will speak on a Laplacian on the full space.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, all. I would like to first thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to present our work here. Today, I'll be talking about the construction of Laplacian on the full shift space. So basically in class, this is a joint work with Sri Harish Sridharan. So basically in classical calculus, to define a Laplacian, it is necessary for the underlying space to be smooth. But after Mandelbrot's work on fractals, it was observed that these fractals are in fact abound in nature, and then it became necessary to study and analyze various physical phenomena on these rough surfaces. So towards that end, Goldstein, Kosoka, and few other mathematicians defined the Laplacian as a Brownian motion on Sierpinski casket. This was more of a probabilistic approach. In 1980s, a more direct and analytical approach was proposed by Kigami, where he constructed a Laplacian on Sierpinski casket as a renormalized limit of difference operators defined on finite sets, subsets of Sierpinski casket. And later, a Laplacian was constructed on many other fractals like self-similar structures and more hybrid fractals, non-self-similar structures as well. So we know that the shift spaces offer a symbolic coding of various fractal structures. So what we aim to do here is we want to construct a Laplacian on this abstract and disconnected setting of the shift space by similarly following the Kigami's method by constructing a sequence of subsets of shift space and defining a difference operator on those. So first I'll start with defining what a shift space is. We have a symbol set S, which we have n symbols, at least 2, and a shift space is defined to be a sequence, a space of sequences with symbols coming from this S. A shift map sigma on sigma n plus takes a sequence from this sigma n plus and it deletes its first term and shifts the entire sequence one place to left. So this is also known as left shift map. We also have a metric on sigma n plus. So for 2 points x and y in sigma n plus, we look at the first place where x and y disagree. So that is rho of xy, with rho of xx is defined to be infinity. Then the distance between x and y is given by 1 over 2 power rho xy. A cylinder set of length m is a set of all such sequences in sigma n plus which begin with this particular word of length m. In general, it's not required that the cylinder sets should fix the first positions in the beginning. We can have any places in the sequences fixed. But for our purpose, it's for convenience, we want the cylinder sets to fix the initial positions. The symbol set S is having a discrete topology. So on sigma n plus, we have a corresponding product topology generated by this discrete topology. And we know that these cylinder sets in fact form a countable basis for this topology. And also this metric D generates the same topology on sigma n plus. Also in symbol set, we have a probability measure where each symbol occurs with probability 1 by n. So we have an equidistributed Bernoulli measure mu on sigma n plus, which is specified on these Borel sets of length m as 1 over n power m. These are some standard properties of shift space. It is a compact metric space. The cylinder sets are both closed as well as open, and the shift space is totally disconnected and a perfect metric space. Now each point in sigma n plus has n pre-images where these are obtained by shifting the entire sequence one place to right, and the first place can be filled with any of the n symbols. So we have n inverse branches for the shift operator sigma. Further, sigma is onto and continuous transformation, and also the probability measure mu is sigma invariant. Now using those n inverse branches of sigma, we can obtain a self-similarity structure on this shift space. For instance, each inverse branch is defined by sigma L, where the first position is filled with the letter L, and then sigma n plus can be written as a disjoint union of images of sigma n plus under these inverse branches sigma L. A more general self-similarity can also be obtained by, instead of considering just one symbol, now we consider a word of finite length m. So for each such word, we can define a map sigma w, which concatenates a string of length m in the beginning of a sequence. And then sigma n plus can be written as this disjoint union. So now we'll construct an increasing sequence of subsets of sigma n plus. We start with the set V naught, which is the set of all fixed points of the shift map. So by 1 dot, I mean a constant sequence 1, 1, 1. By 2 dot, a constant sequence 2, 2, 2, and so on. Using this V naught inductively, we define each Vm for m greater than equal to 1, which is the inverse of Vm minus 1, and which can also be written as mth order preimages of points in V naught. So any mth order preimage of this has first m places filled with some word of length m, and then it is a constant sequence. For example, it precisely looks like x1, x2, xm, and then L dot. These VMs form an increasing sequence of subsets of sigma n plus. Since each point has n preimages, the cardinality of each VM is n power m plus 1. The set V star given by union of Vm, which is the space of all eventually constant sequences, it is a countable dense subset of sigma n plus. Now to construct a difference operator on each of these VMs, we need to consider a set of all real valued functions on VM, and we denote it by L of VM. And the standard inner product on L of VM is defined like this. Now any point P in PM, it actually looks like this: P1, P2, PM, and PM plus 1 dot. By PM plus 1 dot, I mean it is a constant sequence after this. So the points in VM which are closest to P will have to look like they will be agreeing with P on the first m places, and they'll differ on the m plus first place. So all these points will be called as the neighbors of P, and this UPM is the deleted neighborhood of P in VM, which is the set of all these neighbors. So since this L can have only n minus 1 symbols, the cardinality of this set is n minus 1. For example, if we look at this point 2, 1 dot in V1, its deleted neighborhood is given by this, where all these points agree with 2, 1 dot in the first place, and the second place and so on is different. Now we will define a difference operator H naught on L of V naught. So we take a point L dot in V naught, and so there are n minus 1 points in V naught other than L dot, and all of these are at equal distance from L dot. So we look at this difference term u of k dot minus u of L dot, where k is coming from S. So since this sum, this entire sum then looks like this. Now using this H naught, we define further difference operators Hm on L of Vm. So for that, we split this Vm into its two subsets. One is Vm minus 1, and the other is remaining Vm minus Vm minus 1. Now for points coming from Vm minus Vm minus 1, it has neighbors only in this set Vm, and it has n minus 1 neighbors. So that difference term in fact looks like this. And for the points P coming from Vm minus 1, it has Hm minus 1 acting on it, and as well as it has neighbors in Vm. So we have a difference term coming from there as well. Now for for the purpose of this talk, we are mainly concerned with action of HM only on the points in Vm minus Vm minus 1. Now, using these difference operators, we can define a Laplacian. So we'll take two continuous functions on sigma n plus, and we'll say delta u equal to f if the following limit is 0. So here we are looking at hm u of p divided by mu of this M-long cylinder set, and we are taking maximum over all these points p in Vm minus Vm minus 1. So if you see, this actually looks like a discrete version of the classical Laplacian. In this case, we'll call delta to be a Laplacian, and d mu will denote by d mu domain of delta. It is observed that d mu is a dense subset of continuous functions on sigma n plus. Now, if delta u is equal to f, this f can be formulated pointwise. For example, if x is a point in sigma n plus, we can consider any sequence of points Pm which converges to x, where each Pm is coming from Vm minus Vm minus 1. Then fx can be written as limit of n power m plus 1 hm u of Pm. Now I'll just give an easy example of a harmonic function whose Laplacian vanishes. So any point P in Vm can be completely determined by its first m plus 1 entries. So for this particular P, we'll consider a characteristic function of this m plus 1 long cylinder set. So whenever our PMs are coming from Vm minus Vm minus 1, for large enough m, all these points will either belong to this cylinder set or they will not. So for large enough m, hm u of Pm becomes 0. So Laplacian of these functions is actually 0. Now I'll briefly describe the Dirichlet boundary value problem on shift space. We'll start with constructing a Green's function on sigma n plus. It is defined as follows. So for xy in sigma n plus, if rho of xy is 1, that means if x and y disagree on the first place itself, then g of xy is defined to be 0. And if rho xy is greater than 1, then it is defined to be this finite sum. Here, these chi-sm and chi-rm are the characteristic functions of m plus 1 long cylinder sets particular to this point R and S. And GMRS is given by this, where so GMPQ is 2 by n if Q is equal to P, and if Q is a neighbor of P, then GMPQ is 1 by n and otherwise 0. So this is in fact obtained by the difference operators itself. So since the difference operators HMs are finite, they have a matrix representation, and when we consider HM only restricted to Vm minus Vm minus 1, we obtain a matrix that is invertible, and the negative of inverse of that matrix is precisely this GMPQ. So Green's function satisfies these properties. It is for any two distinct points xy, it is bounded by this term. So whenever one point P comes from V star and y in sigma n plus, g of Py is always finite. However, when x is coming from sigma n plus minus V star, g of xx is found to be infinite. And the Green's function is mu almost everywhere continuous. Using the Green's function, we define a Green's operator on space of mu integrable functions on sigma n plus, whose kernel is the Green's function that was just defined. So for an integrable function f, g mu f is also integrable, and for a continuous function f, g mu f is continuous, and moreover g mu f restricted to v naught is 0. And a more important property that g mu f was observed to satisfy is this. So whenever f is continuous, we have g mu f belongs to the domain of Laplacian, and delta of g mu f was found to be minus f. Now this is the analogous Dirichlet boundary value problem for sigma n plus. So for any given continuous function f, and for any zeta given in L of V naught, we can find a continuous function u coming from d mu, which satisfies delta u equal to f, and u satisfies the boundary condition zeta. So since the sigma n plus has it is a totally disconnected space and it is of topological dimension 0, the topological boundary of sigma n plus is of very little significance for us. So we can define a boundary of sigma n plus to be V naught here. And finishing on the boundary V naught. So we will construct a function u like this. And here chi p naught is the characteristic function of a cylinder set of length 1 determined by this point P. Now delta of this is 0 because delta is linear, and delta of g mu f is minus f, so u satisfies this, and g mu f restricted to V naught is 0, so u restricted to V naught is this zeta, so u also satisfies the boundary value condition. The uniqueness up to harmonic functions is easy to see. So these are some of the references. This work can be found in this paper, which is on arXiv. We have also studied a spectrum of the Laplacian, which can be found in this paper. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharvari. Now over to audience if there are any questions.
So I have a question.
Okay.
Yes, please.
So can this work be done when S is countable? Like you have considered a finite, so this S is finite,
Yes.
the set S.
Yes.
Can you
yes,
do it
I
for
think,
countable alphabet?
I think it can be done.
Okay. So the Laplacian, what, like, would it, everything go through?
I think it will go through.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
There is a paper by Sebastian Frenzy on countable substitutional dynamical systems.
Okay.
You should look it up, and I think, like, if you say that this work can go through, then it makes sense to do it for countable S.
Okay. Like
Thank
as
you
of
for-
now, I'm not seeing if there will be any problem, at least as of now.
Okay.
Sure, I'll look into that. Which paper did you say?
Sebastian Frenzy. It's and the paper is Substitutional Dynamics on Countable Alphabets.
Okay. Okay, sure.
If there are no more questions, let's thank the speaker.
Okay, thank you.